Hey everyone, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2024 Chevy Silverado 3500, we're going to be showing you how to install the TorkLift front and rear frame-mounted camper tie-downs. But before we do that, let's take a minute, we'll check them out and make sure they're going to work for you. If you plan on running an in-bed camper, you're going to need a way to secure it, and that's where these are going to come into play. They're custom fit for this particular truck. They bolt up to the frame and give you an excellent and solid connection point. That way you can secure everything down. So these are available as a kit, so you get the front and the rear, or for whatever reason if you need them individually, just for the front or just for the back, you can do that too. These are only going to provide you with an attachment point, right? You're still going to need the turnbuckles that connect this and go to your in-bed camper. That way you can actually lock everything down. If you don't have a set, the ones that I'm a fan of and I think match up great, they're also made by TorkLift, and they're called the Fast Guns. One of the big things to pay attention to when picking out the frame-mounted tie-downs is what type of truck you have, meaning what are the options it came with. Do you have a short bed, a long bed, do you have a step here, what kind of hitch do you have in the back, things of that nature, because those small changes can make a difference in terms of fitment and everything. And TorkLift does a great job of accommodating that. Small changes can be made to these that they did for you to make sure everything fits exceptionally well. And just to give you an example today, our truck is a long bed. It does have a step here, and it also has a factory hitch. These are going to be adjustable, meaning that you can have it in this position or bump it a little bit further out if you want to. So in case you're wondering, I'll give you a couple measurements here for the front ones. If you go from the face of this, we'll just go from our step. That'll be about 1 3/8 inches there. And then if you need to pull it out further, there's a little pin and clip that comes included. You can just remove that. And if you look at the arm here, there's those 2 holes. So I'll set it up in this position here. That brings it out quite a ways. And with it like this, that gap increased quite a bit there. Take that same measurement. And with it like that, it's going to be about 5.5 inches. Whenever it's off season or you're not going to have your in-bed camper in the bed of the truck, you can completely remove these two, right? So that same pin and clip, you can put these in the garage or whatever. And as far as the appearance or how it's going to look with these removed here in the front, I think it looks great. You really can't even tell that they're there. You almost have to kind of get up and look up underneath the truck. And so with everything taken off, at least the arms, it's not really going to affect the overall appearance of your pickup. The same is going to hold true for the ones here in the back. Whenever the arms are not installed, you're really not even going to be able to see them, right? Tucked up under there nicely. And when you are ready to use your in-bed camper, these work the same way as the fronts. With that pin, I'll just kind of leave it in there temporarily for now, and I'll give you some more measurements here. So we'll do the same thing that we did in the front. Really a great spot to go from here. Maybe I'll just go from about halfway up on our bumper. So with this drawn in as far as possible, that looks like it'll be, say, roughly about 3.5 inches, something like that. I'll pull this out, drop it down further, and we'll see where it's at now. We'll take the same measurement, and with it like that, looks like we'll be setting right at about 7 inches. These are going to be made from steel, and they have a nice powder coat finish, almost a hammer tone type finish, so they should hold up for quite some time. For those of you that are in really extreme conditions or just looking for the most longevity possible, there's a version of these that are made from primarily aluminum and stainless steel, some more corrosion and rust-proof type materials. So if that interests you, you can always check that out. But ultimately, at the end of the day, really nice set of tie downs. You know, they're well made and give you excellent tie down points for your in-bed camper. And because of that, it's going to make installation pretty straightforward. You know, these fit excellent. Like I said, they're custom made for this truck. So you don't have to drill or do anything along those lines. There were a couple small times during the installation process where I found some other ways to do things, and it made it a little more simple. So hopefully what I learned can be translated to you and help you out whenever you're trying to get these set up. But really no reason the vast majority of you out there shouldn't be able to install these yourself. However, if you don't want to mess with it, have the time and place to work on it, I definitely understand that. You can always use our dealer locator network to help you find a shop in your neighborhood that can do something like this for you. But if you're going to give it a go, hang around, we'll go ahead and get started on them now. To begin our installation, we're going to first start here at the back of our truck, particularly over here on the driver's side. And what I've done is temporarily lowered and removed our spare tire just to give us a little more room to work. We're going to have this little bracket here that is going to be in the way of one of our attachment points, so we'll remove it. There's this one 10mm head bolt. Go ahead and pull that out. And I'm just going to pop this off as well. Just a little flathead screwdriver and work that out of position. Get some of our hardware in the frame now, so you can take your fish wire, the coiled end of it. We're going to start with that hole there. Push it up and out of this larger opening. And then you want to take a bolt and the star washer, put the star washer on the bolt, thread that on, and just feed that down till the bolt comes out. Remove the wire there, and then we're going to do the same exact thing for that one right there. Grab another bolt, put your star washer on it, and attach it to a fish wire. And then I'm just going to feed that into this big opening here. And then you can grab one of these plates and slide it up in like that. Actually, this might be a little bit easier. What I'll do is take the straight end of our fish wire, push it up this way, put the wire through it like that, and we'll pull it through just like that. Just to make things a little bit easier, I guess I could have left the pull wire on this when I did this bolt here, but I'm going to grab an extra one, thread it onto that fastener as well. And then since these pull wires are exceptionally long, I think I'm going to shorten them up a foot or so just to make things a little bit easier. We don't need all this length here. I'm just going to clip those, and then what you want to do is you can grab the brace here. And these are side specific, so make sure to check your instructions to make sure that you got the right one. But the way this will work, we can take that pull wire, put it through the appropriate hole, and carefully kind of work this into position here. And we'll start with this attachment point. You want to take a flat washer, put that on, and then you can apply some side pressure to the bolt with the washer to keep it steady. You'll put on a split lock washer, and then a hex nut. We'll get this started hand tight. And then what we'll do is remove this pull wire. With these, you know, it's real easy for these to get pushed back into the frame. So if you take a flathead screwdriver and just kind of put some pressure on it there, it'll make things a lot easier, especially when you're trying to remove these pull wires and everything else. But that'll get a flat washer. And a split lock washer. And a hex nut. We'll do the same exact thing here. For this one. Once you get all the hardware in place and tight, come back with a 3/4 inch socket and snug everything down. You want to make sure and come back with a torque wrench now and completely tighten down the hardware to the amount specified in your instructions. As far as the passenger side goes, it's set up the exact same way as the driver's side. The fasteners, attachment points, things like that. They say you can lower your exhaust some to give you more room and clearance. I've done a handful of these on extremely similar trucks and never ran into an issue with the exhaust being in the way or anything like that. So I was able to get our bracket and all the hardware and everything in place over here on the passenger side without the exhaust getting in the way at all. All I got left to do is torque them all down. But I wanted to share something in regards to this top bolt here. The other side was kind of the same. You don't have a whole lot of bolt to work with, and it can kind of be difficult to get the nut started while you're trying to hold the washers up and, you know, do one of these deals to try to push on the bolt, get the most threads out of it. So what I did, I just took some packing tape and taped the flat washer and the split lock washer together, and then to the plate here, poked a hole in the tape, and that made everything a lot more manageable because I wasn't trying to hold all these pieces together and get them lined up and everything else. So if you're kind of struggling to get that nut started, that's always something that you can try. And then of course, once everything's tightened and torqued, come back and just peel that tape off. I got our passenger side one completely installed and torqued out and everything. Didn't have to mess with the exhaust or anything like that at all. Had plenty of room. Like I said, that's kind of my experience from the past as well. For whatever reason, if you're having a hard time or need more room, the instructions do a pretty good job of telling you how you can lower it and manipulate it a little bit to give you that clearance that you need. Got our spare tire raised back into position. No issues there. There's even a little provision in the plate here where you can clip on that strap again right through that hole. So it's pretty nice. And then you can take the arms here, slide them in like that, little pin and clip, and secure those down. With the back all wrapped up now, we can go ahead, move to the front, and start working on those. To get our front tie downs installed, we're going to be working right here in this area, kind of where the bed meets the cab of our truck. And we're going to kind of follow everything up here. I have this gusset that kind of comes up, and there's a factory bolt there that we want to remove. And we can do so using an 18mm socket. From this point on to whatever we do to one side of the truck, we'll also do to the other side. So it'll be set up the same way. Can set this bolt off to the side as we will not be reusing it. Something to pay attention to too, a lot of times there's a little piece of plastic in there that can kind of get disformed, and that'll interfere with our install, so grab a little pair of pliers or something and just kind of pull that out from the opening. So now you're going to have this long bracket. The hole in the top of it is going to line up with that factory hole there. And you can take this bolt, put on the appropriate flat washer, put it through like that. Get everything lined up here. We'll just get this started hand tight for now. We can get some hardware in our frame now. So we'll be working with this opening here. You can take the coiled end of your fish wire, put it through and push it towards the back of the truck. And we're trying to get it to come out of that oval shape opening there. And then what you want to do here is take one of these bolts and then the appropriate star washer, as well as one of these plates. So the plate will go on over the pull wire, and then we'll thread the bolt onto the fish wire. Feed the plate through, the bolt in the washer. We'll pull out on the other end until we get the hardware to come out like that. We'll also use this oval shaped hole for another attachment point, so you can take that same hardware combo that we just used, the bolt, star washer, and this plate, grab another pull wire, and this time you're just going to thread it right onto it. You'll feed the bolt and the washer through, and the plate, pull it right through. You want to have some hardware ready now. This 1/2-inch bolt and a flat washer. Also want to have a split lock washer and the nut ready. And eventually this bolt will pass through like this, through the main brace, and we'll put this hardware on the back side of it. And this is what the brace looks like. They are side specific, so make sure to check your instructions. Make sure you got the right one. But how it's going to work, you'll take pull wire from the appropriate attachment point, put it through the back side. Same thing with this one here. Kind of raise this up into position. And then just to keep everything kind of in the correct position, that's where this hardware is going to come into play. All right, so you got your bolt and your flat washer, you'll run that through. And then on that back side, take your split lock washer, nut, get that started hand tight. Now that we have this piece somewhat supported, you can take your pull wires and get the bolts to pass through, and then you want to unthread the fish wire. What I'm doing right now too, I'm just applying some pressure downward on this to keep the bolt steady. And you'll put on a flat washer, a split lock washer, and a hex nut. So we'll get that started hand tight. And I'll do the same exact thing with the same hardware. for this attachment point here. We're ready to start to snug all the hardware down, and you want to do this in a particular order. You first want to start with this bolt up here going into the bed, and we'll run that down with a 19 millimeter. You want to do this one next. So I have a 3/4 inch socket and wrench. Get it tight, and then we can move on to these ones in the frame. Come back with a torque wrench now, and using that same sequence that we just did, we can actually get these completely tightened down to the amount listed in the instructions. Now that everything's all torqued down, you can take the arms here. We'll go ahead, push them into place. Take our pin and lock it down. Got this one installed over here on the driver's side the exact same way, and with that all complete, that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the TorkLift front and rear frame mounted camper tie downs on our 2024 Chevrolet Silverado 3500.